Hello and welcome to your Katie Bell Physiotherapy and Wellness workout. Today's Pilates workout is all about the back. We're going to be restoring the mobility and ease at which you move. We're also going to be investing in the strength and control around your spine and around your pelvis. So you just need some simple equipment for today. I've got a chair and a cushion. I also have a head block and I have a massage ball. If you don't have any of those pieces of equipment, you could swap them out. So for the ball, you could switch to, I have a special massage ball, but you could use a tennis ball, a golf ball, a spiky ball. And if that still isn't right for you, you may even just like to use the position of relaxation we're going to go into, or come up into sitting and do some massage with your hands, or a foam roller if you prefer. But I'll be talking about it using a ball. We are going to be laying down as well, so if at any point any of the moves or any of the positions I ask you to go into aren't appropriate for you for whatever reason, feel free to switch out into a different position that might work better for you. So we are actually going to start laying down. So this is where you need your chair. So if you haven't already got one, just whiz and grab one now, or it could be a bench or the sofa or whatever you've got nearby, your bed, just to place your calves up onto. So I've got my little pillow here because I want to be really, really comfortable. And I'm going to come and bring myself down onto the floor. I'm going to keep my little massage ball nearby and I'm going to place my legs up here onto my chair. Now, as you can see, I'm sort of inching myself towards my chair so that my legs are fully supported onto the chair. Now, in this position, first of all, I want you to make an assessment of what feels alright. So if you feel like your feet are dangling up in the air, you might like to grab your cushion and pop your feet onto that cushion so they're well supported. So that now feels better for me. You might feel that you're not actually getting enough support around your back, so you might like a cushion there. If this position isn't okay for you to do and you can't lay on your back in this position, feel free to sit on a gym ball or in a chair with a cushion behind your back and just stay here because we're actually going to do some focus on relaxing our spine. So taking your hands to a comfortable position, head block in place if you'd like it. First of all, just take a few slow deep breaths and just focus into the spine. And imagine as you're taking those breaths in and out, you start at the tailbone and you just slowly move your attention up your back. And you're just looking for any area that might feel tight or uncomfortable. Now you may not have back pain or a back injury to notice any changes or sort of discrepancies along your spine. It may even be you just can't feel an area as well, and often that's an area that's very tight and gripped and is almost, the muscles around it almost in spasm, so they're trying to block and protect that. So I want you to start by just seeing if you can breathe out into any area you feel tight. That might be even manifesting across your chest or into your jaw. If it is, just roll the shoulders, maybe reposition the hands, turning the head left and right, and just seeing if you can ease any tension along the spine. Again, just see if you can track up the spine. And just staying here, I'm going to stay here for a few minutes, just seeing if we can let the spine release. You may lay here for a few minutes going, no, I can't feel anything, and then suddenly you're like, oh, I can feel something changing. You can feel some softness. If you need to, maybe lift your pelvis up, so scoop your tailbone up, and then peel your spine back down onto the mat like you're doing a bridge, and then release the spine again, just to see if now that you've had a moment to relax, if you can ease it off. We're also having these legs really well supported to take off any temptation to grip here into the hip flexors and around the legs. So the legs should feel really floppy and just completely passive in this. They should be almost sort of lifted up slightly. And if anything, I quite like it when the chair almost hooks me behind the knees and gives my legs a little bit of traction. It really helps me to release my back and just stay here. Okay, we're going to take 3 or 4 more breath circles, cycles, just releasing that lower back and just seeing if I can just keep tracking down my spine, looking for that release into the lower back. So this is a modified legs up the wall position. So if you've done that before in maybe a yoga class or Pilates class, usually we have our legs straight up against the wall. If you feel very tight in your hamstrings, sometimes that can feel too intense. So this is a lovely supportive position, especially good for relaxing the calves and the feet as well. Now I'm going to take my hands, I'm going to shape them into a diamond, so my fingertips are pointing down towards my pubic bone and my thumbs are pointing at my belly button.
I'm just going to start by rolling my pelvis forwards and backwards. Now I am not trying to go as far as I possibly can. I'm just exploring. I'm really looking for nice smooth movement. I'm looking for that fluidity and that softness rolling in the pelvis. So I might notice as I do it, well actually I can feel myself rolling more into one side than the other. Or as I do that I can feel a little bit of a pull or maybe an ache or even just an indescribable sort of change in sensation in your back. As long as it's not giving you any sharp pain or any altered sensation, that's not a problem. Okay, I want you to tuck your bottom under, so you're lifting your fingertips up here at the front, so you're lifting your pubic bone up, your tailbone up, your lower back should almost be curved into the floor. Now I want you just to press your heels into the chair. So if you're doing this and sitting, I want you to imagine you're trying to scoop your heels towards you, and you should feel some activation through your glutes and through your hamstrings. What we're trying to do is get the backs of the hamstrings to switch on a little bit, just to almost anchor the pelvis, almost like guy ropes on a tent. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and release back down. Okay, stay here for 2 or 3 more breath cycles. Let those legs go floppy, let your feet relax, let your back relax, let those arms go, and just see if you can find any more softness in that spine. Nice big breath in and out. And again, big breath in and out. Sometimes if we've got a very stiff spine, it can feel difficult to get that breath going. So what I want you to do, if you've got no problems around your tummy, no herniation, you're not pregnant, anything like that, I want you just to take your fingertips into the V of your ribs. So I'm going down from my heart. Where my ribs disappear, I'm just going to bring my fingers and I'm going to hook them, I'll show you from that side there, underneath my ribs. And then I'm just going to walk my fingers all the way underneath it, almost like I'm trying to tuck and scoop my fingers up inside. Now if you don't like this or you don't want to do it, that's absolutely fine. I'm just going to walk my fingers all the way down and then all the way back up again. And if there's anywhere after I've taken a trip up and down, if it, oh, that feels just a little bit sticky and a bit resistant, I'm just going to press and hold and keep my breathing going. The alternative, if you do have any issues around here and you don't want to be sticking your fingers underneath your ribs, is just to give the edge of the ribs a little rub. So I'm doing it just with a soft, like a soft punching fist, and I'm just rubbing the edges right onto that V. If you can really get onto it, so rather than on the front of your ribs, come inside, just onside that V there, and then just give it a nice little rub. Take a big breath in. And out. Okay, so you've either got little finger presses inside, or you're doing your rubs. So yes, this is going to partly help your diaphragm, but it's also helping to get some of these muscles activated. And if you are very fixed in your diaphragm and you're holding your breath or you're being slumping and squashing, that can track into your back as well. So either the little tummy rubs, so rubbing into those ribs, or hooking those fingers up and in, big breath in, and out. One more there. Okay, release those hands up. Just have a go again at those little tilts of the pelvis. And what do you notice? Any change? Does that feel any freer? I know for me, I can suddenly feel that actually I can just hear my lower back a lot more. Partly that is because we've had the time for those muscles to go, oh, and let go and relax. But also just being able to get some activation through the hamstrings, the glutes, some release here where we may be being fixed and blocked. Okay, we're going to go for those little hip lifts. So if you are sitting, just do your pelvic tilts, drag your heels towards you. Go on, press, 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 press. Go on, stay there. 5 more seconds. Now try and relax the chest. Relax the shoulders and the jaw. 3, 2, 1, and then peel back down again. Wonderful. Now, you might like to stay in this position to do your release. If not, you might like to take your feet off or go up into standing and do this against the wall if you don't like to lay on your back. I'm going to take the ball, I'm going to lift my hips up, and I'm going to place it underneath this right side of my back. So can you see how I've trapped that ball into my lower back? It's not on my spine, it's just in the soft core of my waist. And then because I've got my bottom off the floor and I've got my legs hooked up on the chair, I can do this lovely little swinging effect. So if you're doing this laying with your feet on the floor, you might like just to press through your heels to lift your bottom off the floor. And I'm massaging in the soft corner of my back, working up. As you can see, I keep adjusting that position, and I'm working higher and higher and higher until I get into my lower ribs, and then I'm working back down again. So you can do this in standing. It's a really nice position to do the release in. It can be quite a nice position to really get into those muscles, or you can do it laying like we are here. If you don't have a ball, you've got two options. Either lift the hips up and let them go nice and heavy and just give them a nice little swing left and right. It can feel quite relieving for the back. Or you might like to roll over to the side and then use your thumb and massage into the lower back. Okay, so keep going there, working in. If you're finding anywhere that's a bit gristly and tight, maybe just stay on that point, have a little wiggle. So rather than a big swing, just kind of wriggle on that spot. And we're trying to go side to side, so we're going across the lines of the muscle. So rather than going up and down the lines of the muscle, we're going transverse, we're going across, which is going to help break down some of those areas that feel tight. Now, if you are onto an area that feels tight, so I can find a little bristly point there, I'm going to stay there now, I'm going to hold it. So if you've got your thumb in there or you're against the wall, just stay still, hold it there. Now, if you can, keep that pressure there, tuck your pelvis under and release. Under, release, like you're doing a little bridge. So what we're doing now is we've got onto that pressure point and we're lengthening out that tissue with some hamstring activation, some glute activation, and that pressure point there. So we're really going to be helping that overactivity to release. Hopefully it just feels really nice as well. Physio nice, as you well know by all of us. Okay, last one there, let's lift up. Pop those hips back, so you might be in standing with your back against the wall, you might be sitting, you might be here like I am with my legs on the chair. And again, let's have a little feel. What is my back telling me here? Now I definitely feel a little bit wonky. This right side definitely feels like it's sitting down into the floor better than my left side. So let's go for a little tilt. Can I feel anything changing? And again, for me, I can feel myself wanting to kind of come across this right side a little bit more. That's because I release that side. So let's take the ball now and swap to the other side. So whichever version you're doing, pop the ball over onto that left-hand side and let's wiggle left and right. So we're going across our waist. So imagine a waistband and you're going to be going along the line of that waistband. We're not going over the spine itself. We're staying away from those joints, but we're massaging left and right. So these are some great releases you can do if you just feel very, very tight in your back. So if you tend to get quite what we call high tones, so gripping muscles, and you tend to find that your back just doesn't release, or you do a roll down, you can roll through your chest, but your lower back just sort of hinges. This is exactly what I want you to be doing. This is a great way to release it. Great way of unpicking sort of built up tension. So if you haven't been sat lots, maybe you've been doing loads of gardening, or you've been really active, or you've had a longer walk or a longer bike ride, then this is a great one to do. Okay, so let's find that point that just feels a little bit sticky, and there you go, little wriggle, little wriggle, little wriggle. Go and work into that point there. And it can feel quite sort of like a nice sort of massage. Sometimes it can feel a little bit sore, it can feel more like a tenderness, like a tightness, and it can feel a bit stingy, but it shouldn't feel like a burning sensation, it shouldn't give you any odd sensation, it shouldn't be too much. If it is, just get the ball out of the way and just do those little sort of side to side sort of hammock swings. Okay, now hold there and let's go forwards and backwards with that pelvis. So we lift and lower. Now because I've got the ball over here on my left side, I'm particularly thinking about activating down through this left leg. So I'm really using those hamstrings and glutes to lift my pelvis up so I get that release into the lower back. Okay, last two, last one. Well done, lift off and relax that spine back down. Okay, how do you feel now? What are you noticing? Have a go at the tilts. Does that feel different again? To be honest, even just that alone is going to be a great way to mobilise your back. Okay, now again you've got the choice, you can keep your legs up onto the chair. I want to pop the ball underneath the bottom cheek now. So right bottom cheek. So you might be against the wall, you might be doing this in sitting, you might be doing this if you don't want to stay flat anymore. For any reason, I'm going to show you an adaptation now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into sitting, I'm going to pop the ball underneath my bottom and I could lean here onto my hands. This is a great way, a really good position. It's basically the same as laying flat. Effectively, my hips and knees are pretty much at that 90 and 90, and you get the angle right up into the bottom cheek. You do whichever version you're happy to. Okay, so we're going to hold that there now. So try and stay still into that point where you're trying to release. Try and go heavy into those hands. If this doesn't feel okay for you, just pop the ball out of the way and just give those legs a nice slide up and down. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Let's hop off. I'm going to pop the ball over to the other side. So I'm going to pop the ball underneath that left bottom cheek now, and I'm going to roll side to side of that. So I'm looking for that area that maybe is feeling a bit reactive, a bit tight, either that or it just feels thickened. It feels sort of unusually tight or hard or restricted, and you're just trying to work into it. Now the muscles that we're working through here and sort of lower down into the lower half of the bottom tend to go across the bottom. So imagine going sort of from your hip across towards your tailbone, so they're going straight across, okay? So we want to almost be thinking about going up and down these muscles, and sort of circular actions can be quite good. Because the thing with the hip muscles is that when your leg is in a straight position compared to a flex position at the hip, the alignment, the orientation of those muscles changes. So the easiest thing to do is just go in circles. So if you're in doubt on where you should be in terms of bottom muscles, circles is a safe bet. Okay, let's do 2 more there. Working into that bit that's tight. And if you can, 5 little second hold. 3, 2, 1, and release. Well done, let's hop off. Okay, I'm going to come and lay on my side facing towards you. So I'm going to place the ball now underneath my right hip. I'm going to just come and place it underneath the side. So can you see it? If I roll back here, you can see it popping under. So there's my hip bone. So if I find down the side of my leg, I find that bony point there. And if I put my hands on my hips, which is the top of your pelvis, so the lower part of my waist, I then got this gully in between, this soft gully. So I want you to wriggle around in there. So either coming all the way forwards here, or all the way into the back of the hip, whichever one feels okay for you. So I feel I've got a little bit more tightness there, so I'm going to stay in the back of the hip there. Now you might like to wriggle up and down or take it in those little circles. I'm going to stay nice and still with my hips. I'm just going to roll my knee in and out. So it's like we're doing clown. If this doesn't feel okay, do this against the wall. Roll the ball into the hip and see if you can massage around. You can even use that outside leg to press into the wall, and you can give this leg a little waggle left and right. That's it. Let's do 2 more here. So I know it's back week, but as most of you all know, if you've done Pilates with us for quite a while, the glutes are incredibly important in supporting the back. So if they're tight and deactivated and not firing as efficiently, they're going to make life a lot harder for the back. Okay, last little lift and lower there, and let's come up. We're going to switch our legs round to the other side, or you can just roll over. And again, I'm going through between that hip bone and the pelvis, so that little, those 2 bony landmarks. I'm in this soft muscular area here, and I'm going to roll forwards and backwards, side to side, so I can come all the way forwards towards the front of the hip, all the way back. I'm looking for that area that feels kind of tightest to me, so I've got a little tight corner there. Now, if you were doing this on your own, maybe on an evening whilst you're relaxing, you might like to work all the way through this whole entire bit, so going from the front of the hip onto the side of the hip and the back corner, so taking those 3 points around the hip. It's a great way to get a little bit of release. So find your point there, and then let's lift and lower that knee. Really trying to just open up the hips and pelvis, prepare us for all our strength and stability work. You can just do your exercises straight off, but I'm a big believer in doing the release work first, because if I'm going to go to all the bother of doing all the strength work and conditioning work and working so hard, I want to get the most of it. So I want those muscles to be in the best possible position, my alignment to be the easiest for me to achieve. Okay, let's do 1 more of those, and then when you're ready, let's lift off and release. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my chair out of the way now, and I'm going to just make some space onto my mat. I'm going to pop my ball aside, but I'll keep my cushion. I might use that later, and I've got my head block as well. So let's get rid of all those bits of equipment. Okay. Okay. So we're going to come into hands and knees position, and we're going to do a little bit of work for mobilising around the hips and around the pelvis. Anything that doesn't feel okay for you, feel free to go into a stretch or mobility that feels good for your body.
So let's bring our hands into hands and knees position here. So I'm going to stack my hands just above my shoulders, and from here I'm just going to rock my hips left and right. I'm just making this little bit of a swaying action. Now I'm trying to keep my spine nice and long, but I'm not working too hard. I'm not really fixing into my shoulders or fixing into my spine. I'm trying to be soft. I'm trying to let my spine just activate and work as much as it needs to, rather than over-prompting, which often is a problem with back problems, that we overwork, we overfix with the core. We do what we call bracing. Now, if this feels okay for you, you might like to scoop this into a big circle. So this is our sort of interpretive dance moment, the moment where we don't want our family to walk in and check if we're okay as we're kind of doing these big interpretive dance circles with the hips. But these feel really, really good for the hips, the pelvis and the lower back. Any joints that aren't happy with this, feel free to go back to those side to side sways. Okay, we've got 2 more here. Okay, now I'm going to take you into an option which is a good alternative to pigeon stretch. I know a lot of us really enjoy pigeon stretch. Pigeon stretch is the one where we come through here and we slide the leg down. Some of you might have done that before. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a slightly different one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my front leg here, so my left leg, I've got my knees in parallel, my legs are pointing straight back, but I'm going to lift this foot on the left side. I'm going to rotate my leg so that my foot sits over my calf. And with this position now, I'm going to sweep my hips to the side like we did before and then sit back very slightly. Now, if you've got any problems with the hips and that doesn't feel okay for you, go back to the version that was okay for you before. So I'm going to turn this way so you can see. So you can see how my legs are parallel. So I just put that left leg, over it goes. Can you see it's crossed over now? My hips go to the side and I sit back. And this is a really good stretch for the deep hip, particularly for the piriformis. So if for any reason you can't go down all the way onto the floor for a pigeon stretch, I don't know, you've got a bump in the way, or it's not a problem, it's contraindicated for your hip, or your knees just can't cope with it, this is a good alternative. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's lift out. So let's swap over. So let's take that right foot now. So my legs have gone back to parallel. Right foot is hooking over left. And then I'm going to take my hips out to the side and sit back. So you'll see if I move my arm out the way, I'm going off on the diagonal. So staying there, sitting back. If this doesn't feel okay for you, feel free to hop into a different stretch which you prefer. Wonderful. Okay. 3, 2, 1, let's release. And just to take any tension out of our lower back, I'm just going to let you just sway those hips left and right. So imagine you going into wag the tail. So wag the tail is where we lift the foot up and we rotate and we do a little side bend here of the spine. But I try to do always just a really soft version. So just scooping those hips side to side. So I'm not arching forwards and backwards, I just scoop left and right, left and right. It's almost like you're shaking out. You know when your hand goes a bit numb, you wake up in the morning, you've slept on it, and you're kind of shaking it to get some sensation back. It's like that, we're just shaking out any of that tension. Okay, 3, 2, last one. When you're ready, let's come back into the centre here. Let's rock ourselves back into a shell stretch, and then back up into hands and knees tabletop. And I want you to walk your feet and your knees a little bit wider. Any problems at all, just go back to your narrow version. So I'm going to rock forwards and backwards. Forwards and backwards. Again, if I don't feel happy at all in terms of my hips or my knees, so my knees clicking a little bit, I'll stop now, but it doesn't hurt, it doesn't cause me a problem, it feels absolutely fine for me to carry on. But if you're not happy with it, then I want you to stay up. Now on the next one, whichever version you're doing, whether you're wide leg like me or narrow leg, I want you now just to kind of scoop left and right. So imagine you're swooshing like you're doing some, I don't know, what's the kind of speed skating, whoosh, swoosh, side to side, to see if you can work into those hips a little bit more. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's come all the way back up and hop those knees in. Okay, so I'm going to step my hands a little bit further away. I'm going to tuck my toes. I'm going to press into my downward dog. And then I'm going to release back down again. If that doesn't feel okay for you, wrists a problem, you come down onto your elbows and you do what we call dolphin. If it's the turning upside down, I want you just to do one single leg
Tuck those toes under, stretch those heels back so you get that nice stretch through the back of the legs. But if not, scoop up, lift through the tailbone, tuck those ribs in, hold for the breath in, and breathe out, roll back down again. So I want you to think more about just stretching long, like the 3 points of the triangle, so your feet, your hands and your tailbone are stretching away, like you're opening up that triangle and then releasing back down. And again, breathe out, use the core to go up and release down. One more here. And you're ready, let's release through. We're going to walk ourselves through and bring our legs out in front. Okay, so we're going to take ourselves into hip spirals. I love hip spirals, but of course if anything that irritates your knees or your hips or it isn't okay, I'm going to show you an alternative in a second. So I'm going to step my feet nice and wide on my mat. And I'm going to let my knees roll left and right. So they're unsupported. So what you'll see happens is I go one way, this leg is rotating in and my left leg is rotating out and vice versa. Now if you've got problems at the hips or the pelvis and this just is irritating, or you've been told by your doctor, your consultant, whoever not to do it, I want your legs together. You might like to grab your pillow or your head block now and do knee rolls here. We're just looking for that lovely softness and release around the deep hip. Don't worry if we can't go into some of those positions. We want to move safely and effectively for our bodies. And what works for me might not work for you, and that's absolutely fine. Okay, let's do one more each side. Okay, can you roll your knees to the left-hand side and hold it there now? Now, in that position there, if you feel comfortable, can you roll forwards and backwards with your pelvis? So you might be here with your block in between, or you might be here, those knees apart, and just roll forwards and backwards. So it's like a little pelvic tilt. We're just nudging in and out. If that feels too much, then just stay there. Okay, 2 more, and 1. Okay, let's roll the knees the other way, and rock forwards and back, forwards and back. And you're looking for just that little bit of release, a bit further into this hip range. Well done. Last one. Are you ready? Let's bring those legs round. Okay, we're going to come up into a seated position. So I would keep facing the way you are. I'm just rotating so you can see me. Now in this position, I want to be able to get a clear stack of my spine. So by that I mean I'm not sort of leaning back and holding here or hunched over and rounded. So I'm not here trying to hold onto my legs, or I'm not having to lean back. If that's the case, grab your block, grab your pillow, come and sit on them so you can get that lovely stacked spine. So we want to be able to get into our rotations. Okay, we're going to start with just a simple spinal rotation. Let's bring our hands into prayer position or hands on heart, and we're going to rotate round to the left hand side, taking your breath in, and then breathe out and twist the other way. Take a breath in. So we're starting just slowly to move out of mobility. So for all of those who love to work hard and you're itching to do some strength work, it's come in. But we want to make sure that we've really opened up your body, optimise your position, optimise your posture. And some rotation is just fantastic for that. Okay, on your next one, so we're going to rotate round to the right hand side. Hold for the breath in, reaching this left hand up into the air. Big breath in. And then we're going to twist. We're going to go all the way around to the left hand side now, reaching up. Right hand goes up into the air. Breath in. And switch. So what we're doing now, we're starting to release and mobilise some of those mid-back muscles that track into our thoracic, so our ribs, and also into our shoulder blades. Now if you feel comfortable too, you might like to rotate, so I'm going to put my right hand down, my left hand up, and I'm going to side bend over to the opposite side of the mat. Come back up. If that feels too much for your spine, or for your pelvis, or whatever else might be an issue, you don't have to add it in. It's just a little bit of a progression. Make sure if you are doing this side bend, that you come round, reach up first, so ground down into your pelvis, lift up into those fingertips, and then fold forwards, rather than coming forwards and collapsing down. You want to get that nice length out of the tissue before you fold. Okay, let's do one more time each side. So I'm going to go to the right hand side, lifting up with that left hand, then folding forwards. Let's go to the left, reaching that right hand up, fold forwards, and back up again. Lovely. Okay, now if you're comfortable too, can you go to a nice wide leg position? So I want those toes pointing out, and if you feel like this tips you back further, again, block or cushion, or even just wiggle yourself back so you're sitting against the wall. So I'm going to show you what I mean. So I'm going to come up onto this block here, so you can see now how I'm perched on the front of it. My legs are out nice and wide. I can feel my glutes are starting to work, but I'm not kind of gripping here in my hip flexors. If that is you, I want you just to think about a little bit of like pressing your heels down into the floor. So it's almost like you're trying, imagine you're going to try and stand up. So push those legs into the floor. So like you're going to try and push yourself on the floor. You should feel your glutes switch on a little bit more. If it's any problem, just bring your legs back into cross leg. Okay, so we're going to go nice and wide here. We're going to rotate and look at our foot. Take a breath in. And then rotate the other way. Keep going. So press those feet away from you, like you're trying to slide them down and away into the floor. Long fingertips, just rotating through the spine. Exhale to twist. Inhale to hold. Exhale to twist. Inhale to hold. Okay, this time we're going to exhale, but then we're going to close our arms. We're going to curl our spine down, like we're going to try and touch our toes. Hold for the breath in. Now, reset from your lower back, mid back, all the way up into your neck. So we go round, we fold, then we peel back up, opening through those arms. Rotate, fold, reach, now peel back up again. So you're getting that lovely connection, one vertebra at a time. We're letting everybody have their go, rather than just letting those dominant muscles, those dominant joints take over. One more time each side. Rotating, lifting back up. Last time, finish the side that you're on. And come back to the centre here, give those shoulders a nice little roll. Well done. Okay, we're going to move now and bring our legs back out of this position. We're going to rotate into hands and knees. Again, just popping your equipment out the way so you can use it later. We're going to come here into our hands and knees position. So, back to your wag of the tail. Let's rotate the hips left and right. Just taking that little breather for the legs. Okay. I'm going to take you into your downward dog in a moment again. So when you're ready, make sure you're happy with your shoulder position, your lower back position. Tuck those toes, lift up, hold for the breath in. Breathe out and roll back down again. So we're recapping. Now we've got a little bit more movement with our spine. See how it feels. Any difference for you? Remember to breathe out and use that core on the way up. Make this your last one and then come and rest here. Now I want you to set your shoulders and I want you to just see if you can keep your spine completely neutral. I want you to see if you can let go of your tummy. So I'm just going to scoop my t-shirt and I want you just to have a little think. So I'm going to set my spine, so I've got the neutral, but I'm going to let go of my tummy. Think big roast dinner belly. Now I'm going to engage my pelvic floor, so whether you do that through the analogy of a belt, or maybe you do my little wink and zip, whichever one it is, I want you to lift through that core and let that tummy just gently engage away from the floor. Hold it there as you breathe in. That's it, keep it there as you breathe out. Now relax. And again, breathe out, engage the core. You should get this little gentle tummy tuck in. So get rid of my t-shirt so you can see what I mean. So if I relax, there's my core switched off. I set my spine. Now I breathe out, I gently engage through my pelvic floor and core, and you can see how my tummy just gently lifts. I'm not like sucking it in and rounding my spine. It's just a hover. Imagine you've got a church candle underneath your belly button. Okay, now this time, as you breathe out and you engage that core, now lift up into your downward dog. Hold it there for the breath in, keep that core switching on gently, and then back down again. Relax. Now imagine that church candle underneath your belly button. It's a little bit warm, so let's gently engage the core, lifting the tummy slightly off that candle flame. Now tuck and lift up as you breathe out. Hold for the breath in. Keep that little lift away from the candle as you lower back down again. One more time. Now if you noticed a big difference on the quality of your movement or how far you can move, the likelihood is your core is not switching on, therefore your back is vulnerable. So I want you to really concentrate on activating your core through this. Okay, off you go. Hold for the breath in. Breathe out, all the way back down. When you're ready, allow yourself to release down to your shell stretch. And take 3 deep breaths in and out. Okay, from here we're going to press ourselves up into our downward dog. Up we go into those hips. And then when you're ready, let's step those feet underneath our pelvis, dangling our head and arms. And then peel the spine all the way up into standing. Okay, so let's come and face the front. And we're just going to go through a few little standing exercises which are going to help develop some strength and stability around the pelvis, which is really good for offsetting any overactivity into the back. So we're going to start with our walking. So if you want to step your feet to hip distance apart, which means your toes should track underneath these pointy bones of your hips, your knees should be soft and your legs should feel long and grounded into the floor. Now I'm just placing my hands onto my hips, so I've got a little bit of feedback from my pelvis. When you're ready, I want you to lift with that left heel and then release back down and then lift with your right heel. Now this seems like a very simple exercise, but all I want you to think about as you do this is whether or not you can keep your spine in your neutral, whether you can keep still. So we're wanting to avoid that side to side lateral shift and also that sink into the hip. So we want to lift out of that hip as we do it, left and right. So this, in theory, is an easier level of the next level we're going to do. But I actually think in terms of control, this is much harder. You have to be a lot more specific about what you're doing to not kind of get away with kind of a little bit of cheating that we might see in the next version. So your next version, I'm going to lift up here into my left heel, then I'm going to switch into my right and switch. Now you are less balanced here, but this movement, this momentum sometimes means that we can lose a little bit of control here at the hips. So try and think about lifting out of the hip, keeping the pelvis floating out of those joints. Okay, keep that going there. And if you feel comfortable too, let's bring the arms in opposition. So I'll swap so you can see. So we go switch and switch. That's it. So you should get this nice little opposite arm action. It should feel fairly natural. Now I want you to take it to a pace that feels like walking for you. So just your normal walking pace. Obviously we're stuck to the floor, so we're not going anywhere. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Can you take it faster now? Fast, fast. Now as you do this, try not to lose these hips. Try not to start doing swish, swish, swish. So nice and tall. Go on, fast, fast, fast. Okay, back to your normal walking pace. A nice stroll through the woods, nice and relaxed, not trying to rush anywhere. Okay, now let's go to slow motion. Up onto those toes, back down into the opposite heel. Make sure you exhale, lift into that pelvis and switch. Lift and switch. Lift and switch. Lift. Making sure we've got this lovely long length through the collarbones. That we're not dropping forward through those shoulders. Nice and slow. Last one. That's it. When you're ready, release those feet. Give those feet a little shake. We're going to take ourselves into foot series now. So keeping yourself in this foot distance, hip distance apart, toes pointing forwards. Come up onto the toes and then back down. Up and down. So we're just getting that little lift off of the heels. Almost like you're taking a little breath and it's passing underneath your heels. Exhale. So I'm not getting up very high, just lifting. Okay, now on your next one, can you lift up, hold, and then release back down. Lift up, hold, and release back down. Again, I'll show you from the side. I'm staying nice and tall. I'm not losing that line. I'm not arching and sticking out water. Exhale up. Now, let's float the arms. Exhale up. Inhale back down. Exhale. Inhale. Feel free to take this pattern at a speed that works for you. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Let's take it into our little squat. So we come onto our toes, release our knees, then our heels and stand. Toes, knees, heels and stand. Toes, knees, heels and stand. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Keep that movement going. Soft through the jaw and long through the neck, keeping the rib cage and the shoulders relaxed. Okay, 2 more here. If you need to take a break, feel free to now, but if not, stay here with me, doing your little heel walks left and right, alternating legs. That's it. So if I turn to face you, we're going to be here. Release, release again. We're not dropping, swishing, not doing our little ski wiggles. If you feel really competent, you might like to go for a little switch and switch and switch. And you're looking to track those ankles over the toes, knees over ankles, hips over knees. So again, we're not dropping and really, really moving. We're keeping nice and light. Go on. 3, 2, 1. If you did take a little break, see if you can join in now. So both heels come off and back down. Both heels come off, back down. And you'll see that I'm sweeping my hands behind me. As I do this, I'm squeezing through my shoulder blades. If this is any problems for ankles or big toes, go to just one and switch, yeah? Don't have to do both. I want you to be moving well, but I want you to squeeze those shoulder blades so that they work with the glutes, which is going to help give you like a pair of braces and support for the pelvis and the back. Last 2, last 1. Well done, and release back up into standing. Fantastic. If you need a drink of water, do take one now. We're going to transition back down onto our mat. We're going to do a little bit of work to strengthen around the hips, pelvis in this position. So when you're ready, long spine, exhale, tuck with the chin, rolling down, dangling the arms, the head and neck, softly coming down towards the floor. So if you're competent with roll downs, feel free to just continue at your own pace. If not, you can follow with me. I want you to just curl softly through that spine. Exhale, tuck the chin, roll down. And you're melting one vertebra at a time. So imagine your spine is an ice cube and the top of the spine starts to melt all the way down to the base, and then you refreeze back up all the way to the top. Exhale, tuck the chin. Let the jaw go. So you can take off any extra tension that you're holding in your body and just use that inner core, holding for that in-breath, and then exhaling, still lifting up through that pelvic floor and core to come back up into standing. Okay, on your next one, let's go all the way down to the floor. So exhale, roll all the way down. Heavy arms, heavy head, cooling down towards the floor. Hold it there for a breath in. And as you breathe out, let's walk our hands down onto our mat. Now in this position, we are going to come down onto our tummies. So if you don't come down onto your tummy, feel free to stay in hands and knees, and I'll show you an alternative in a minute. But you're going to walk yourself down, taking either your head block or your hands to create a little cushion here for your head. Now we're going to do some mobility first. So first of all, just get into this position and give your hips a little waggle left and right. So I want you to have your forehead down, and I'm just going to turn so I can talk to you. A little waggle here just to release the tension. So if you are in hands and knees position, again, just a little waggle here, side to side, just trying to get rid of any tension in the lower back. Lovely. Okay, we're going to progress that. So if you don't feel happy with the progression, feel free to come back to this little waggle. It can be really soothing for the lower back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend up my left leg, popping my left hand by my chest, and I'm going to roll and reach behind me with my toes. I'm going to take a nice big breath in, breathe out, I'm going to release back around, and then I'm going to switch the other way. So I'm going to put my right hand next to my shoulder, bend my right knee up, and then reach my right leg round and behind me. Now I'm not staying down here, I'm really lifting my knee up, I can feel my glutes engage, and I'm giving a little bit of rotation into my spine. So you've got the choice. You can either stay here doing those little hip wiggles, or you can bend, lift up, rotate with those knees, creating a big stretch around the body. Now, if you are staying in hands and knees position and you didn't want to come down on your tummy, what you're going to do is you're just going to lift that knee and then rotate behind you here. So you might choose just to do the little lift here. You might like to lift and then rotate. It's almost like I'm trying to dab my big toe on the wall behind me, and then I come in, I lift up with that right knee and then scoot behind me. So I'm looking just to start opening up the hips and the pelvis and engaging my core. Again, if that doesn't feel okay for you, feel free to swap out of this position. Okay, so I'm going to come down onto my tummy. I'm going to show you a version here of how to work with the upper spine. So I'm going to put my hands just to the side of my head here. I'm going to roll my shoulders away from my head. And I'm going to exhale and float my head and neck off the floor. Hold for the breath in and then lower back down again. If you prefer, you might like the head cushion still in place, but I want to keep the shoulders away from the ears, keep the ribs in, so I'm not arching my back and pushing my ribs into the floor. I'm connecting, I've got a nice long spine. So exhale up, hold for the breath in, exhale back down again. And again, exhale up, hold for the breath in, and back down again. You may even like to come up and float with the hands, and back down. And again, exhale up, hold for the breath, and back down. So those are the two options for you laying on your front. If you don't come down onto your tummy, option number one, shoulders away from ears, let the head dangle down between your elbows. From here, exhale, lift up into the base of the neck, stacking the neck one vertebra at a time, looking at your fingertips, but keeping a soft jaw, hold it there, and then peel back down again. So it's like a lift of a drawbridge. One chain link at a time, and then release back down. So we're either laying on our tummies, lifting and lowering, with or without the hands. One more time, whichever version you're doing. We're holding there. Okay, so staying onto your front, I'm going to bring my hands round by the sides of my body. I'm going to lift my head off like I was doing, and I'm going to squeeze my shoulder blades together, keeping my ribs in. And I'm going to do a little pat here. And I'm going to do a little pat. 10 little pats. 3, 2, 1. Release back down. And again, float off, roll the shoulders and pat. Pat, 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 pat. 10 pats. And then release back down, making sure that I'm not letting my ribs or my back arch. If I was in hands and knees, I'm now going to come up into high kneeling. Squeeze my shoulders, and I'm going to do 10 little pats here. 3, 2, 1, and release. Now I know not everybody needs to be in this position, but I know for some of you, being on your tummies just isn't possible at the moment. So just see if you can roll those shoulders and pat here. It's almost like you're trying to squeeze a beach ball behind the backs of your legs, whether you're laying on your front or if you're in this high kneeling position. Okay, last one here. Pat, 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 and release back down. Okay, so if you are onto your front, I want you to stay here, and you're going to start doing alternating leg lifts. So we're going to exhale, float, inhale, lower. Exhale, float, inhale, lower. Now, making sure that you're keeping your shoulders engaged, we're not all floppy into the floor, neck is long. If you want to challenge yourself further, you can float your head and neck off the floor, keeping your chin tucked in. Alternatively, if you don't like that position or you've had enough there, you can come for your nice long leg reach in your hands and knees. Both of these exercises are a version of what we call swimming. And swimming is where we look for a nice long length for the leg and then it floats away from us. This is a great exercise for challenging the muscles and the stability around the spine. Great. Okay. I'm going to do 2 more of these. So 1 more on each side. Lovely. Okay, so let's all push up now to hands and knees position. Again, I love hands and knees. It's a great way of getting the spinal muscles to switch on. So, extending my left leg behind me, I'm going to float this leg just off the floor. Now, I'm going to make sure that the supporting hip is stacking over my supporting knee. So, by that, I mean I'm not off over here. Can you see? I've got that nice vertical line. I'm not going off at an angle. So, that's what I'm looking for. So, everybody check that now. Now, hold this leg here. And we'll do a little flick, and then out nice and slow. Flick, out, nice and slow. If this feels too much, leave your foot down the floor and just do a little flick here and then find the floor. So flick and low, flick and low. Go on, shoulders away from ears, flick and low. You can come onto your elbows, or if you've still got that chair to hand, you might like to come and rest your elbows onto there. Just make sure if you are that you're not arching your back. Keep this lift here in those ribs. Go on, flick and release, flick, release. Go on, check that stabilising hip. Is it still in line? Go on, 2 more. Flick and release. Okay, keep the knee bent now, squeeze. Flex the foot and imagine you've got a balloon between your heel and your hip and you squeeze that balloon. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Can you make it go a little bit faster now? So squeeze, 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 squeeze. So this is a version of what we call our hamstring tantrums. You should be feeling like the backs of your legs are going for it. Go on, squeeze, 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 squeeze. 3, 2, 1. Now hold it here. Lift and lower that leg for your donkey kick. And again, press, press, press. Hamstrings really need to wake up if you've got back pain. We really need them to be working. We need them to be at a good length, but we also need them to work well with a good amount of strength. And often they cramp. They're notorious for cramping, aren't they, like calves. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that both of them are down the back of your body? Yeah, that's why we need to get the back of the body more balanced, evenly working. Last one. When you're ready, release that leg there. You might like to stretch that left leg out. Okay, let's switch to the other side. If your wrists are getting sore, feel free to take a little reverse prayer or switch to fists. So, we've got our nice long leg out here. We're going to lift off here. Are you ready? Can you lift it off from here? Okay, so from here, we're going to go a little kick and out. Kick and slowly out. So it's nice and fast in, slow curl out. I want you to really squeeze that leg straight. Flick. Now squeeze and reach. Flick. Squeeze and reach. Now check in on this stabilising leg. What's this left leg doing? Is it stacking or is it going off to the side? This is going to help your pelvis get in a good alignment. And ideally, we want both kneecaps pointing straight down at the floor. Okay, are you ready? On your next one here, flex that foot. Imagine you've got a balloon there. Go on, squeeze, 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 squeeze. If you can get the pulse going, make it go faster. Go on, go, go, go. Now don't lose this position here. This is often where we feel like you're kicking, but your leg's just kind of flapping around behind you. But don't worry about that. Keep going. Flick, 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 flick. 3, 2, 1. Now hold it here. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Keep going. We really want that hamstring and glute to be working together. You've got 2 more. Last one. When you're ready, stretch that leg out behind you. Nice big release for the back of the leg. Well done. Okay, we're going to come and lay onto our sides. So you might like your head block or your pillow to support you. I'm going to come and lay over onto my right hand side. We're going to do a little bit of work to stabilise side to side on the hip. So first of all, I'm going to stack this top leg up at hip height. My underneath leg can either be flexed or it can go out straight, just very slightly in front of me. It's up to you. I'm going to demonstrate flexed here for you. But if you are more advanced, feel free to progress as you normally would in class. Now let's lower and lift this leg. Now my starting position was hip height, and I'm going to go a little bit above and a little bit below. It's almost like a windscreen wiper. Up and down, up and down. Exhale up. That's it. Now let's keep this lower waist nice and light. Doesn't mean you have to have a gap between the floor and yourself. It just means that we're not collapsing down here. We've got both hips stacked and we've got that connection front and back, side to side. Okay, on your next one, hold it here. Now forwards and back, forwards and back. Now you'll notice that I've changed my foot action now. So I point on the forwards, flex on the back. And what I'm doing here is I'm just also stopping myself getting overly kind of gripping through my calf by taking myself into this little sweeping action. But it also helps me to get that feeling of pushing off. So when you step forward, you land into your heel and you roll through your foot and then you toe off. So it's sort of mimicking that walking action. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Take a rest if you need to. If not, we're going to circle. So I'm going to push you quite hard for these last few minutes. If you need to take a break at any point, feel free to. Circle, circle, circle. Change directions. Go on, 6 the other way. Go on, 3, 2, 1, well done. And relax that leg down. Give that hip a nice little tap. Now I want you to straighten out your lower leg, and if that means having this leg in front means you're really rotated through your body. You might like to have your cushion underneath your knee to still lift that leg up a bit so you can get this good pelvis position. See how you feel. Now, step this leg slightly further back. Can you see how I took it back right in line with my body? Naturally, it was quite far forward. So make sure it's back. And from here, lift and lower, just like you did on the other side. So up and down. Exhale up, inhale back down. Now, sometimes if you are very tight in the hips, it can be uncomfortable on the supporting hip. So that's again where you could put your cushion there instead if that feels uncomfortable. On your next one, we're going to hold up here. Now, windscreen wiper forwards and back. Forwards and back. So it should feel a little bit of tension here on the inner leg. Try and keep it so that your kneecap is pointing forwards to the front of the mat. Go on, stay there. Hold it here now. Point those toes 6 circles up and back. Keep the pelvis still. And then 6 circles in the opposite direction. Well done. 3, 2, 1. Hold it there. And release down. Okay, we're going to roll over onto our backs. I'm going to pop my head block out of the way. Now, if you can't lay on your back for any reason, you might like to come and stand at the wall, come into a little squat, and we're going to go into our hundreds and our bridges. A great way to complement the front and the back of the pelvis. So roll forwards and backwards, and then find that midpoint. We're going to exhale, float one leg up, hold it for a breath in, breathe out and pop it back down, and switch the other side. Now, obviously, if you're doing this in standing, you don't need to float your leg off the floor. Just stay there in a squat, finding your neutral. Okay, so if you are used to doing double tabletop, I'm happy for you to come up, engaging that core and coming here. If you're not, I want you to stay with your single tabletop. Today, this week is really about really using the quality and the technique rather than pushing yourself too much. Now stay here and let's add our little arm pats. So if you're standing in that squat, add those arm pats as well. Lower back is in the neutral, neck is long. We're going tap, 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 tap. Pelvic floor switching on, core coordinating with it, making sure we're not holding the breath. Okay, let's do 2 more rounds of breathing. Last out breath. And let's switch legs. So if you're doing double tabletop, feel free to take a brief rest and then reset into your neutral. Make sure as you come into this that your pelvis is level, your ribs and your chest is level, and that your legs are in parallel. Off you go. Tap, 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 tap. There you go. Keep going with those arms, tapping away, keeping the pelvis flat, keeping the shoulders soft and open. You might like for a change to turn your palms facing up. So generally we do sort of 5 little taps for your in-breath and 5 little taps for your out-breath. Last breath cycle. When you're ready, relax back down one leg at a time. So hundreds are a great stabilising exercise, building your endurance and your ability to coordinate your pelvic floor, your core and your breathing cycle. Let's step our feet right in, making sure we've not got a head block, and let's peel up into our bridge. Now today, we're not going to do lots and lots of our bridge. We're using it much more as almost a mobility, like a massage for our spine. So I want you just to feel like you're just peeling that spine off and then back down again. Now, if you're somebody who you find that your knees just naturally go apart as you do your bridge, maybe grab your block or your cushion and hold the block between the knees, making sure you've got that lovely connection through the inner legs up into the pelvic floor and core. That also can be really helpful for anybody who's got a diastasis, or maybe you had some pubic pain, or you've got a hernia. This is a great way of getting this front line to connect a little bit more with your back line. None of these lines are superior. None of these teams of muscles in your body are better than the other. It's just about them all being balanced with each other, able to work really well as a team. Okay, on your next one, I want you to float off just halfway. Tuck your bottom under, just squeeze those knees into either parallel or onto your block if you're using that. Stay there. Go on, squeeze the heels. Imagine you're squashing the whole of your foot into the mat. Like the mat is made out of sand and you're trying to leave your whole foot impressed into the floor. Go on, you've got 10 more seconds. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Push those knees away. We're not going too high. We just want to get lots and lots of gluteal activation. Go on, 3, 2, 1, and peel down. Now you might like just to turn over to your other side. I'm going to come up and over so I can switch ends of my mat. We're nearly there. Last little round of exercises for the glutes. So if you want to, we're going to come and lay it onto our sides with our head block. Underneath leg either slightly flexed or extended as per your level. Let's stack those hips. Ribs tucked in. So I've got this lovely long spine position. I'm not diverting down to the mat. I'm not flaring forwards. I'm going to float my leg up here in line with my body. Are you ready? Exhale. Let's lift. And lower. Exhale up. Inhale down. Exhale up. And down. Great. So you should feel this squeezing very specifically into the side of your hip. Nothing into your lower back. Not tracking down into your knee or into your hamstrings. If you have got any of those things, the likelihood is either you're flaring with your spine or you've rotated with your hips. Okay, on your next one, let's keep this up. Now pelvis stay still, forwards, flex, back. Point forwards, flex, back. Forwards, flex, back. That's it. Imagine you're repainting your skirting board. Reach with those toes, sloshing that paint on. Obviously neatening it up on the way back. There you go, let's do 3 more here. 2, 1. Okay, keep with me if you can. We've got 6 circles forwards. Keep this pelvis still. Now try not to brace too much with this supporting leg. Okay, change directions. Go on. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well done. Let's bring that leg forwards. Give that hip a tap. Now remember, you've got the choice of adding your pillow underneath your knee or underneath your supporting hip. Let's straighten that back leg, that underneath leg, down and back. When you're ready, keeping your knee facing forwards, nice stack pelvis, exhale, lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower, well done. Now, often as we do this, we tend to feel like we want to sort of almost seesaw here with our ribs and our back. Now try and keep this leg up and back, so don't let it start creeping forwards here. Okay, on your next one, hold it here, now sweep forwards, now press back, forwards, press back, and forwards, long spine, well done, keep going. Want to feel that little bit of engagement down the inside of the leg. 2 more. Last one, now hold it here, 6 circles. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can you change directions? Go on. 1, 2, 3. Don't worry if it feels like circles. There's some sort of undescribable triangle. Last one, and release down. Well done. When you're ready, we're going to push ourselves up into sitting. If you feel comfortable to, I want you to pop yourself into cross leg or just a comfortable sitting position of your choice. Now, I've got my legs crossed. I've got my left leg in front. So I'm going to bring my right hand across to my leg. I'm just going to give myself a gentle little twist to look to the side of the room, taking a nice big deep breath in. I'm going to walk myself a little bit forwards if that feels okay. If that doesn't, I just want you to sit up nice and tall and stay here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to slowly walk our hands round. Take a big breath in, out, and then again, another little walk. Big breath in, and out. Now I'm going to stay sitting back into my bottom of my sitting bones. So I'm not letting myself drop out of them. I'm sitting out of them. I'm going long for the crown of the head. Big breath in, and out. Okay, keep walking the other way. And then see if you can get that last little bit. Big breath in, sit into the pelvis. And when you're ready, let's come across. This time my left hand over onto my right knee, nice and tall. And then I come back through. Okay, swap those legs over. Crisscrossing the other way, which always feels a little bit strange. We can go back the other way. So, left hand over to right knee, rotate the body, now sit up tall. Nice big breath in. And walk those hands forwards. Big breath in. And again, walk the knee. Now start walking in front. Long spine, sit into the pelvis. All the way forwards. So this isn't like trying to fold ourselves into a sandwich. It's not trying to get down low. It's almost like you're trying to reach your spine forwards through the crown of the head and back through the tailbone. again. Last one. Now bringing out the right hand onto your left knee, sit up nice and tall. And come back to the centre. Well done everybody. Hopefully that last little mobility will have stretched off your glutes and your lower back. If you do feel like there's any areas that were particularly tight or particularly challenging in that, I want you just to spend another 5 minutes repeating those exercises. So it might be the lift and lowers of your inner leg, it might be in the bridges, it might be in some of the release work around your glutes. So 5 more minutes from me, get into those so you really get the full benefit of those exercises. Lovely to see you. I'll see you on your mat again soon.